Today, I am joined by James Conway and Graeme Foster, two long-standing employees of Tombola. Thank you for joining me today, guys. Appreciate your time.
Welcome.
Maybe we could start with like a little intro about you and kind of what your roles are. James, why don't you kick us off? But it'd be good to know kind of what your role is with Tombola.
Yeah, so I'm James Conway. Hello. I look after technology at Tombola, so I'm the tech director here. Technology at Tombola is quite a varied department. We've got a game studio. We've got two engineering teams that look after player experiences and the underlying platform. We've also got a data team who look after Tombola's data platform, and we have information security and internal IT as well.
Great. Graeme, what's your role at Tombola?
So I'm a lead infrastructure engineer, I think is the official term. We look after everything in the cloud, really, all the infrastructure, pipelines and deployments and all the DC2s and such like. We are 100% in the cloud here in Tombola, so it's quite expansive. It's quite a list.
Yeah. Well, and I know we're newer to working with you and we're building on that relationship. And I've been lucky to hear about the history of Tombola. I mean, without putting you too much on the spot, like what's it been like at Tombola? How much has it changed? I know you're both part of the furniture now, so you've probably seen a lot change.
Well, I mean, just to kind of use a cliche, I think that's the only thing that is consistent at Tombola is change. I've been here nearly 10 years now. I started out as a kind of a lead developer here way back when it was only 30 odd people in the head offices here. We've seen a lot of change in that time. We've launched new brands, we've launched new countries. We operate in 6 territories now. When I joined, it was 3. We've seen a lot of change, a lot of restructure, a lot of new technology being brought on board. I think that's kind of it's an interesting part of our culture here. Tombola is always, the teams rather, are always looking for the next big challenge and the next good piece of tech that we can use to kind of take advantage of, and so things move quickly here, very quickly. So things have changed a lot in 9 years, a lot.
You touched on technology, like from a tech point of view, like what have been the biggest changes there, and kind of what exciting techs are you starting to use going forwards?
So I think that were you here for the cloud migration, James?
Yes, I was.
So less than 10 years ago, Tombola was run on Windows.NET servers in a data center. And today we consume over 90 native services in AWS. One of the great things about Tombola is the freedom that everyone's had over the years, and obviously the autonomy that people have had, and the lack of control sounds bad, but we haven't been bound by a traditional CTO and traditional architecture teams. So we've had the freedom to go after this new tech and try all these new things. And it's almost hard to find people to work at Tombola because we do so much. The opportunity to learn, develop here is crazy, but we don't turn staff over, even though it's a great place to come and potentially pad out your CV. But it's wild. Like the stuff that we use, what we do, what we try, and nothing's ever off the table here. It's a fantastic place to grow a career in the cloud.
And I think our migration to AWS was a good example of that. So at the time, the business requirement was launching a new brand in the UK, Tombola Arcade. And I think at the time we were in a data center in Gibraltar, which used to have weekly DDoS attacks and just power outages and things like that. It was a nightmare. And I think we were looking to kind of double the size of the business in the next 4 years. So we realized pretty early on that we weren't going to be able to do that in our current data center. So the options we had were a new data center, somewhere a little bit more modern data center, or AWS. and we just went all in on AWS, and it was a crazy time at Tombola. I think we managed to do the migration in about 6 months.
Wow.
But yeah, and ever since then, that was kind of 7 years ago now. I think ever since then, we've really just tried to focus on cloud native. So we will use or consider any cloud technology to solve a problem. Nothing's off the table, like Graeme says.
What I love is the idea that both of you talk so passionately about it. It sounds like the business is very much led by technology rather than it being supported by it. And with people having so many opportunities today, and like, is that how would someone, or how would you describe the culture of Tombola now? How would you describe, because it sounds like you've come such a long way, how would you describe that?
It's, the passion's always there, and people have passion for the business. And so a couple of years ago, we were still an owner-operator. We had Phil Cronin running this place. I was laughing the other day, I was talking with the lads about it. I saw some reels on Instagram where people were talking about a family at work and how it's a red flag. I was saying to the lads, I was like, is that really a red flag though? Because we were like, you know, it was a family-run business. Like for us, it was different. And that culture is so far embedded in the people here that we're not just passionate about tech, we're passionate about each other, about the business, about Tombola.
Yeah.
Phil always really drilled into us how unique we were in the market and where we sit in the industry. And I think that everyone that works here, part of it is about that. And we like what we do. We look after our players, our customers. Like, it's at the forefront of everything that we do. And it is a total cliche, and you really need to come and live it to see it. And I think that Flutter have learned a lot about us in the last couple of years, because I guess there's traditional strategies that you may use in a business that don't work in Tombola, because we're just so passionate about protecting this place and looking after this place.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the culture is a very interesting culture, particularly in our industry. The amount of times that we've had a kind of an objective to double the size of the business in Tombola over the years I've been here is quite scary, and I think every single time we've managed to achieve it as well. So we've grown a lot, and I think that's it's become habit for the teams as well. So the teams really do like the next big goal, the next big stretch target, and it does come from the teams do really care about working here, and it's hard to describe in words. You have to really kind of come and kind of immerse yourself in the culture here to get a feel for it. But you know, the teams do really care about the business. They care about the business model, even. They care about our strategy. They care about our customers. You know, we're very well connected to our players.
You definitely, I know I've met you, James, face to face, but you get a sense of that people are, you know, they love working there, and it's, I don't want to say a cult, but definitely a culture. Like they love it. But you also touched on there that, you know, it's always changing. There's always new things on the horizon. You know, we're working very closely with you because there's a lot of growth planned. What's the exciting challenges and projects sort of on the horizon at the moment?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, as Graeme kind of mentioned there, we were acquired by Flutter Entertainment 18 months ago now, maybe it's nearly 2 years ago. And you know, we went from being that family-owned business to being part of a kind of a FTSE 50 company. A big, enormous change for us culturally. But I think one of the things Flutter did recognise was kind of how different we were, and you know, Flutter have kind of they've let us be. They haven't tried to kind of, you know, absorb us into the mothership, so to speak. They've let us be. They've let us be us. They've let us stick to our strategy and our business model, and actually starting to acknowledge now where we fit into the market, and where our strategy fits into the bigger picture. And as part of that, we're looking to basically be the bingo provider for Flutter on a global scale. That is kind of the next objective for us, to kind of be able to provide our bingo games, product, content, expertise out to the other brands around the world.
And what, I mean, with that, I mean, that sounds massive and incredibly scary for a layman like me. I mean, what do you kind of envisage, or what do you see as like the biggest challenges you're going to have with that? Because I mean, that sounds like a serious mountain you have to climb.
Yes and no. It is a big challenge from a tech perspective, but we're kind of used to that. We like big tech challenges. We've also got a huge heritage of bingo. You know, the teams in here, that's all they've ever done: bingo games and slots games and scratch cards, and you know, that stuff's easy for us. I think the new thing here is for us is to have you know, different types of customers, customers that are parts of other brands maybe, or even other brands that are customers. So B2B relationships. That's the kind of new thing for us. That's the uncharted territory. The rest of it's, you know, a positive challenge. We're looking forward to that. Nothing scary, I would say.
You make it sound much easier than I feel like it could be, but it's I know it's.
I think that's my job.
And from I mean, obviously, part of this process is you're going to need to hire a lot of people with specific skills or fill skills gaps. And you mentioned like you have the rare ability people can like try tech and different techs, which weirdly from a recruiter's point of view makes our job really hard, because we find it much easier when you just say go and find this and we'll find it. I'm going to sort of two parts question. One is, you know, if you were to describe a Tombola candidate, what would that look like? And then the second part, which is like how, bearing in mind there's so many people at the moment on the market varying in ability and skills, what can they do as an individual to like stand out from the rest of them as well?
So for obviously everyone recruits a little bit differently in here. Obviously all the managers have a different style and such like. Personally, and some of the guys might share this, the cultural fit for me is like a really key thing, because of the way we are in Tombola and because of how close we are and how closely we work with each other. So I'd often choose the person over the tech sometimes. Yeah. I think it's really hard. Well, you can't meet our criteria. Tombola's about 250 strong in tech, I think, somewhere in there. We're much bigger as a business, but that's our core technology. And we're exposed to so many different things that there isn't a human really on the market that fits all of our needs. So they can learn that if they want to. Like, someone has to be passionate enough and have to have that drive and that want. But really just being sort of the right kind of person is the main thing for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's spot on. I think one thing I do see a lot as well is low ego. You know, there's no egos in Tombola. It's you know, we all just roll our sleeves up and get stuck in kind of thing. There's no hierarchy or there's no superstars here. There's no, you know, 10x developers or anything like that. There's everybody just works as a team, and yeah, I think that's the main thing for us, is that passion and desire to learn. I think so. Like Graeme says, we have quite a lot of depth in terms of the different technologies we use, and we solve loads and loads of quite challenging problems in different ways. So really, we just need people. The kinds of people we look for is people, like I said, low ego, people able to sit in a room and hold a conversation and challenge and have an open mind and be open-minded as well. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And the next bit for me is from a CV. What kind of stands out to you from an experience or whatever that you think, right, I'd like to chat to that person. That looks really interesting. What are the things that stick in your mind from a candidate CV perspective?
Honestly, at the minute, just one typeface would be a good start.
I think a reflection on aspect. I was going to ask you.
I've had 6 fonts in one CV. Like, extra points for Comic Sans, but I think now this is your showcase of yourself. Like this is how you present yourself to a business. And although that was partly a joke, it's true. Like your CV rolls across your email, and the first thing you look at is literally how it's presented, because that's how we're presenting ourselves out in the internet, in the open.
Yeah.
So you guys, there's plenty of professional services out there that help writing CVs and such like, but just getting that layout right first, and make sure you get all that information down there.
I'll make sure I do that. Font size.
So we're quite lucky at the minute in Tombola. Like we're hiring for quite a lot of roles. So I guess we take on people with lots of experience and little experience, and there's all kinds of different roles available on our website at the minute. Different parts of data and info and devs, and so yeah, there isn't really one thing. I don't think. I think it's really hard to isolate.
Okay, so maybe right now that I've sort of hung myself out to dry on the font, maybe an easier ones. I mean, obviously anyone with any betting experience, but are there good crossover in terms of industry? Anything to do with like highly transactional? Is anything like that kind of stands out specifically?
I think we have such a varying kind of set of tech teams. Anybody from any industry will find a team that they will be valuable to in Tombola. Like we do have quite a broad range of technologists, whether it's game developers through to people like Graeme who like to look after servers. There's a huge range of skill sets. So in terms of the companies that they work for, it's not really that much of a consideration for us. We do find that people from e-commerce businesses tend to fit in quite well to teams like our player experience teams, or people from game studios, independent game studios fit in quite well now. Game studio, there's varying things, but I think one thing I like to see on CVs, maybe two things. The first thing, I like good examples of projects that have been involved in and delivered. But the thing that I think is missing from most CVs is actually the human aspect. And one thing that we very rarely see is hobbies and interests. That kind of thing. We care about that stuff as well. Like we do, like we're all humans at the end of the day, and I think that is really important for us. That we're seeing a human behind a CV and not just a list of jobs.
We actually hired a DBA recently. And part of the reason for the interview, and we did hire him, was because he disappeared for a year and set up a microbrewery.
Did he?
And that was his gap in his CV. And I was like, yeah, we need to talk more about this. And then is it kombucha tea, or there's some crazy
kombucha?
Yeah, bit of that as well. And that was it was a real standout thing on the CV. Like it was something different that we hadn't seen. And then one other piece of advice that while we're here, not everyone's been in the cloud, right? Not everyone's there yet, and not everyone's working in it. But there's opportunities to go and learn, and there's free opportunities, and you can create your own Amazon account for free. You do need to put a card on there, but you can use Amazon with zero charge. I assume Azure is the same. We've had people before that have come in for interviews and that are interested and they want to learn and they want to be in this job, and we ask them like, have you created your own account? And they quite often say no. And I think that's a huge thing for me. Like if you want to be in Amazon, you want to be in the cloud, it's really easy for you to go and give yourself a head start. And people that have taken that extra step and they've showed that willing and showed that they really are interested, they really do want to do this, to actually spend their own time doing it. That's a massive thing for me.
It's funny enough you saying that. It's kind of it's a wonderful change for us at the moment, where I think not a lot of businesses are recruiting, or if they are, they're in smaller numbers, but they tend to be quite specific, their hires. And I think it's really refreshing from our point of view, especially as a business that kind of focuses on tech-driven companies, that you focus on that kind of stuff, the human element, the stuff you're talking about, like investigating tech, inquisitive minds, like that's that's what we really enjoy, and it does seem like that's, from your point of view, that's a big area to focus on. Talking of working with us now, that, as I said, you've already butchered me, Graeme. How have you found? I know your recruiters haven't been working with Tombola for long. How have you found working with us as a business?
Yeah, from my side, it's been really good. I don't know I can't really say what we do or do right or wrong in recruitment in the past. Obviously, Tombola is ever changing. We try to do everything ourselves on Tombola. That includes recruitment. And we build everything ourselves. So why wouldn't we hire everyone ourselves as well?
Yeah.
So this is one of the first experiences that I've had working with an agency. And you guys have found us some cracking candidates. One of the recent ones that I believe you proactively went after, had on your books, found, spoke to, he wasn't looking to leave, and now we've hired him here at Tombola. And I think that's a great leverage that you guys have got, that you have links to so many different people, that you can have these conversations with people and somehow lure them out of a happy job and get them in here. So yeah, it's been a good experience so far.
Yeah, I think likewise for me. Recently been recruiting for some quite senior roles in Tombola, and I think the candidates that we've gotten through from you and your team, Nick, have been really, really impressive. Not all of them found a role, but they're different time and different role could have been spot on. So I think all of the candidates have been really impressive. Really impressive.
Appreciate it. I think what I always try and talk to clients about is, if you partner with the right recruitment company, it's kind of like one of those things that you can turn on and off like a tap. But the better we get to know you, I mean, even like stuff like hiring people with a microbrewery. I know you guys have got amazing catering on site, like all that, like little nuances like that allows us. You say, Graeme, about how do we persuade them to come out? It's stuff like that. It's the extra things, the stuff they kind of look for, the cultural pieces that we kind of build a picture around, and it helps us kind of provide a better type of candidate, whether they get the job or not. It's not always the case, but it means it's the right type of profile, I suppose, is what I'm getting to.
I don't want to fill everyone with too much false hope, but when we interview for DBAs or info engineers, we generally get them in at lunchtime. We'll have we'll have an interview at 11 o'clock. Like, we'll have a chat, but we always bring them in for lunch, because it's a really silly thing, but it's a big part of Tombola, and it's not a canteen, it's a restaurant downstairs. Like, we have some good food, so we'll have a laugh, we'll feed them, we'll make sure they're happy, and people relax and a bit more in like a more social setting, don't they? So you can get a better idea of who someone is, and then, you know what, they don't always get the job, you're right, but at least on those days you've had a nice lunch as well, so maybe it was worthwhile. I feel less guilty if they've had a nice steak first.
Well, now with your recent DBA hire, you can offer them a craft beer or a nice cup of tea as well. So it's sort of provides full service.
We've interviewed people before where they've said that they'll be really upset if they don't get the job, so they can't come back and eat the food again. So,
guys, look, I really, really appreciate your time. I'm conscious I don't want to keep you for too long, but thank you for taking the time to chat to me. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk to you and especially find out more about you and your roles at Tombola. So really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you very much for that.
No worries.
And to our listeners, obviously, please stay following us, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Talking Tech. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Nick.